that our membership figures stood at...
May increase the shareholder. Now, the effects come like throughout the policy decisions that are being made. So what are the policy influences around the investments such as this?
Yeah, so that's the third one in terms of how to make money with shares in the stock exchange. So as we just mentioned now, like policy makings or policy changes. So usually when the budget speech is about to be announced, you're gonna hear that investors are looking forward to the budget speech. And the reason why is because the minister has a power to implement policy. If you remember, also in 2025, and there was this suspicion that the VAT might be increased to 17%. And if that was going to be the case, most people who are invested in companies like ShopRite, most retailers will have sold their shares, because now those companies are going to lose money because of a policy change. Because people will be buying more of, like, of course you're going to need food all the time, but we will now try to be savvy and trying to save in terms of what to buy food. So companies will have less money to spare or share with shareholders as dividends. So that's one example of an impact of policy changes. So one example of a policy change that can enable investors make cash is, for instance, currently Advetech and private institutions of education, higher education, have been given a status of universities. So, or as they've been given a status of like higher institutions of learning. So you can get a degree from a private institution. So now, what these private institutions are going to be striving for in the future is that NSFAS should be allowed to fund students who are going to private institutions, because I mean, if you've heard last year that there were so many students who didn't have university spaces even though they had passed with bachelors. So you can see that the government in the next 2 or 3 years will be likely to be, in a way, encouraged to change policy in order to allow the private players to be able to receive cash from NSFAS. Or maybe even the government might decide to buy those private institutions and make them under government. So if if you can see how the trend is going, then to be a smart investor, you can buy Advetech, or maybe you can buy Study, in order to put yourself in a position whereby if the government decides to change policy and allow private institutions to be accepted for NSFAS, and then you would have gained so much cash in that run, or so much capital appreciation.
Absolutely. I mean, like, if as you talk to the policy change